this is Rielly of Mystic Taxi Feng Shui and Decorating, a Feng Shui practitioner and decorator, and this is a mystical Feng Shui reading of 371 Princess Street, which is the building on the northwest corner of Princess and Berry Streets in Kingston. I've always wanted to look deeply into this space and figure it out. I'm so glad to be doing this reading. Just to remind us all that the sky is the limit, this historically was the site of the old YMCA building in Kingston, which looked like this. This photo was from 1906. I have to say, what a beautiful building. I can't get over it. It was gone before I think I was even born. I didn't see the building, but there are still some people I know who swam in here as little kids. They said the pool was on the second floor and that it was just a beautiful building. And I believe it. Look at this. And this lovely YMCA had a fire and was destroyed at some point, and this new building was built sometime in the 1960s. Then it became a Bank of Montreal, and it's been several restaurants since then: Boston Pizza, Shoeless Joe's. It's been Meat Cuisine, and most recently an all-you-can-eat Japanese buffet. This building is listed for sale now. The listing says there's a long-term tenant with a 10-year lease. I'm guessing that's the restaurateur who is the long-term tenant. The restaurant is closed temporarily for the summer. From what it says, I think that there are also secondary rental units inside. I think probably in the far northwestern corner of the building. Anyway, the restaurant is the thing that makes the property operate, so when the restaurant is successful, this property will be successful, and most of my comments will be addressing balancing the feng shui of the restaurant. I can see that the decorators who worked on this building were familiar with some of the basic principles of feng shui, but there are some imbalances that need to be corrected in order for the business to thrive here. Sometimes in the absence of a balance, a person with the right kind of personality and gifts and auric elements can take charge of a business and make a success out of it in spite of the challenges. But in the absence of such people, the building will only work according to the way it was designed. This is a brick building with a ceramic tile floor throughout the dining room and in the kitchen, a freestanding stone slab of some kind. It looks like white marble. In front of the bar area, there's a marble countertop on the bar, lots and lots of metal and orange leather looking furniture. The presentation of this space is stone, earth, metal. There's a little bit of wood. The bar is made out of wood, and there are decals on the wall of wood. There's a lot of fire in here too, with all the lights and the little grills on the tables. And there's a lot of metal energy with all those metal tables and the mechanisms underneath it and everything. The signature of the premises wants to be water and wants to embody wood, especially in the dining room. In this building, the water energy is technically in the kitchen, but it's a very small space limited to just a few feet. And most of the water space is in the parking lot, which is paved. So this place has to work really hard to embody the water energy. Also, even though there's a wooden bar and some wooden decals on the walls, I'd say the wood energy is underserved, considering the overwhelming amount of metal in this room, which is dominating the wood areas. A person could pull off a successful restaurant here, as I said, with the current decorating choices, but it would be because of the power of your personality being so aligned with water and wood. And the building does attract these kinds of people. However, there's only so much you can do before you're starting to fight with a building, and it becomes smartest to align the building with its correct elements. I want to take a moment to commend the designers of this space for the gorgeousness of the premises. Since this place became Meat Cuisine, and the first time I saw it, it has been an absolutely stunning room. I remember the first incarnation of meat took my breath away. I stood at the windows looking in from Berry Street, and I just about died of happiness seeing the beautiful balls of light on the ceiling and the gorgeous ceramic fish on the opposite walls, on the western wall, in pairs swimming around little plates. It was so beautiful. Kingston needs to have this kind of beauty. A lot of money has been spent here on fixtures and the furniture by talented decorators, and so much generous love and money has been poured into this property. So now I'm going to talk about the nature of water. First of all, water in no way is threatened by the fire energy because water extinguishes fire. A good thing about having a water signature is that the lighting in this place is wonderful and it can be a permanent fixture of this space. The height of this space is beautiful. It doesn't need to change. The drama of this space is welcome because water is also very dramatic. The gorgeous light colored art piece on the wall next to the door is also perfect, and I love it. The main element that is creating an obstruction to the water is the stone, which is a yang earth element. Water has a couple of special relationships. The first relationship it has is with metal, because what they say in feng shui is metal creates water. So like a child with its parents, where metal is the parent and water is the child, where there's metal and water together, the water honors the metal. In a similar kind of relationship, metal is created by stone, which means that when metal and stone are together, the metal honors the stone. Water and metal together are a beautiful and important relationship, but the primary path to wealth in this context is where water meets wood. The element that this room and this property could use more of is wood. When you have a seed and water, they germinate into something that can grow, like your company can grow, like your financial well-being can grow. Wood dominates stone also, so if you put enough of it in the space, it will tame the dominating stone energy and make use of the water that's there. To maximize the wealth of the space, I would replace the floor in the main dining room with wood, either with hardwood or bamboo or something like a wood composite flooring. The fire element you don't really want to extinguish in the front part of the space because it is controlling the metal, which is otherwise kind of out of control in this area and totally dominant. When there's wood instead of stone, the metal can create water, the wood can absorb the water, and wealth can be created. So even if you're not adding water to the space, by removing the stone, what you're actually doing is allowing the water to come from the metal, and the fact that there's so much fire in the area controls the metal so it doesn't cut the wood. So even if you're a very good restaurateur, you can attract people who are obstacles to your business. And stone has very different qualities than water does. Water wants to work. Water is a very hard-working element. It never stops working. It never stops flowing. And earth is the opposite. It has a lot of inertia. It wants to reflect, and it doesn't really want to move. So if you want movement in this space, you have to take the earth. You have to start taking the earth away. In some ways, the earth is helpful, but the whole building is made out of stone. So the whole building is speaking an earth language. It's yang earth. So you're not going to be endangering the stone by removing the floor. All you're going to be doing is giving the water a fighting chance to flow. If you have a lot of earth in a water space, what's going to happen is that you're going to get delays and you're going to get distractions because it wants to be a fast-moving space because it'll have obstacles. That's the kind of result. But it's not... the people who are attracted to this space are really excellent business owners. It's kind of like a crash course in obstacles. It's like an obstacle course. So it's a matter of priorities. The first thing I would do, the order of importance is get as much wood in this space as possible. The second order of importance is to remove as much stone as possible. And the third most importance is to go a little easier on the metal. And that should do it. That's the order of things that I would tackle. The primary thing is getting as much wood in here as you can. I'd choose a sort of flashy, fiery color for the floor probably. There are so many options. I'm going to show you some here. Right now the wood in this space has an orangey color. Let's see, what kind of wood do we have? Well, the first kind of wood that I tried is kind of a fun one. It is a yellow one. I was trying to find some things in the room that I could imitate. Here's a yellow one to match the yellow lights. I also put together this little gray sketch to match the walls. Then I have this sketch of an orangey color, which is probably the best color since it matches the wood that's already on the walls and in the bar. So this is similar. You want to choose a fiery floor because there's so much metal in this space that you want to preserve the power of the fire energy as much as possible. I know that there are grills also in every single table, which is good to combat the metal so that when you're putting wood in here, the wood is protected and the wealth is protected metaphorically. Also, the southern window should have plants in it. There's no reason not to have lots of plants around this building. If you're looking for wealth, I would put plants in most cases. I mean, every building is different, but this building here requires plants. And I would put plants in all of the windows of this building, except for maybe the one in the southwest. Anyway, at least put plants. I would put plants in the southeast, in the east, where the wood is supposed to grow. You could have really big, beautiful plants in this area. Anyway, so there are lots of different ways that you can do wood on the floor. The east is where you're making ends meet. The southeast is where you grow wealth. And I would recommend maximizing these windows for plants, and I would recommend the wooden floor. This picture here is from the wood space. This is a picture of the southeastern window of the space where you want to locate a lot of greenery and you want a lot of wood here. The tile floors have been here since it was a Boston Pizza long ago. So the current restaurant owner did not install these floors. You can see on the right the space is untangling a little bit from the grip of the stone. Other things you could do to align the space for the kitchen, which is the only spot in the building with an official water area, and it really only encompasses a few feet. I would take the tile out of the floors and install something more aligned with wood, like marmoleum, which is my favorite flooring of all time. Maybe a blue marmoleum. There are lots of different kinds of blue marmoleum. Great blue hues in this product. And this product is great for industrial spaces. It's waterproof, lasts forever, and it's beautiful, and it's a natural product that's made out of linseed oil and beeswax and sawdust. It's a great product. I really love marmoleum. It has to be professionally installed and the floor needs to be level. So what you would do is take a couple of layers of plywood and put them down, and then you would put down the floor, and it's just beautiful. This would go a long way in opening up that water space that you want in this building. The other water space on this property is the parking lot along the extension of the building and out to the middle of the parking lot over by the corner. So I'd recommend a lot of greenery out there in the summer and winter, maybe some hanging baskets or some boughs of holly. Christmas hanging baskets in the wintertime, maybe some green paint and some blue paint to metaphorically ask the water to flow and balance out the parking lot. Maybe some wooden signage on that little extra building. The more of the wood element you can put along this wall to temper the stone, the better. The easier you could make this door to use and this building to use and this whole space to use, the better. And actually the cars they're helping the water to flow as well. The facade on the southern face of the building, I'd like to see these dark metal decals painted out white. There's fencing here. I would paint that metal fencing out white on the front, especially along the corner. And around the corner along Berry Street, I would think for sure you should paint them out white and burn off some of this dark metal. There would be no harm in inviting wealth energy on the outside by installing wooden decals where there are currently metal decals. As for the buyers, this building attracts people who are great hardworking business people who know what it normally takes to make a restaurant successful. So the potential buyers and tenants are probably very serious people. I'm feeling families with a lot of experience and resources. The restaurateurs in this space may even have had success with restaurants in the past. This space attracts experts and people who are really good with budgeting and so on. With careful rebalancing, the business owner can operate in this building successfully. This is a beautiful building and its occupants deserve a lot of success and happiness. It's been loved and cared for, and it does deserve to have a successful and happy future. And I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you have a great night. If you would like to see the possibilities of a new home or business energy, please call me at Mystic Taxi. I do feng shui readings for properties on demand for $100. I am open to trades and barter for readings. If you are in need of my services, you will not be turned away.